Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Vartalaap Season 1. Vartalaap is the space for voicing thoughts, seeking solutions, and creating a free space for ideas, imagination, and inspiration. For this online series of Vartalaap, we're going to bring the career options which are very viable, which are trending, which are emerging, and we would be gonna providing a space so that we could popularize it into the students and into our culture. Well, anything that new comes into the market, it often is popularized, it's promoted, it's advertised. That brings us to the topic for today's discussion, advertisement. And for that, we are in conversation with Bansuri Dayal Chouksey. She has been an alumna of MSU BBA. She studied a CCC course at MICA and she is currently the senior brand strategist at The Glitch. Welcome, Basuri.
Hi.
Hi.
It's so and it's so great to be on the other side of the screen because usually I used to be the one taking interviews.
Right. Okay, Basuri. So, like I said, you are working at the Glitch. Glitch has been one of the leading companies in the media agency, and it's been very trending all over. Everyone knows about it. So, how did you got into this field? What really struck that advertising is something that you wish to do?
Actually, I should be very grateful to Sankalp for that because that is where my professional journey really began. I was a very timid child when I got into MSU BBA. जो मैं अभी हूँ मैं उसकी exact opposite थी. If you'd asked me for a call back then, I would have just backed off saying, hey, I really can't do this because I was just really timid. But then, as fate would have it, I got into Sankalp. My first year was pretty great. I had great seniors in my first and second year both. And and that is where I realized कि okay, मुझे मेरी life में यही करना है. I want to tell stories for a living. And so after Sankalp and after I graduated from MSc BBA, I thought, okay, what is next? So I took a job as a copywriter in an ad agency in Baroda. And then one thing led to another. I shifted to Ahmedabad to a bigger agency, which is Communication Crafts, which is a great agency, by the way. I owe a lot to them. And that is where I heard the name of CCT course in MICA. And I realized कि अगर मुझे मेरी पूरी life यही करना है, I'd rather do it professionally and with a qualification. I got into MICA CCC. I got placed into Leo Burnett after that. I worked there for some time and then I switched to Glitch.
I can clearly feel all the excitement and happiness in your voice right now. So, yeah. Basuri, I wanted to ask, like the thing, advertisement as a term, it varies from people to people. Like for me, advertisement is generally to like capture the audience. That's it. That is what first instance comes in my mind when it comes to advertisement. So I was curious, what exactly is advertisement?
There are traditional definitions of advertisements, and everybody has their own definition. Like you had your own.
Yeah.
My professor in MICA, Mr. Subhash Tindle, he always said, advertisement is the profession of changing mindsets. And I definitely agree with him there. Even though I like to call it how it's the art of, occupying mind space in another human. And everything that we do right now, right from waking up to sleeping, is all influenced by advertisement. Even the fact that we're having this call right now is advertisement because aage jaake this video is going to be an advertisement for students who want to get into MSc.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's anything and everything that occupies your mind space.
That's amazing. I mean, like you said, it's really that powerful that advertising can totally change how we see things, like the simple things, and it totally changes the concept. That's amazing.
And over the years, it has changed so much. It has changed so drastically from writing those, long copy Volkswagen or lemon ads to now being clicks. It has come a long way. And when I was in Leo Burnett, one thing that they were very clear about was that it is not about ads anymore. It's about acts. So now our audience is very smart. You can't just sell anything that is written to them. You have to sell what you're doing. So yeah, it's not about ads anymore. It's about acts.
That's
You
amazing.
have to show what you're doing. Yeah.
Basuri, like if only I had to begin, like I'm also very interested and I'm aspiring to, find a career in advertising. And like me, there are a couple of lot people out there who wants career in advertising. So what do you think? Like what are the qualities that we could nurture right from now so that we could carve a career there after a few years?
Um, have conversations as much as you can. So, because as I said, it's about occupying mind space. And when you have to occupy somebody's mind space, you have to have a conversation with them. You have to understand who you're talking to, and just understand how humans behave. But if you talk about having something in your hand, a physical proof or a physical tangible proof to get into advertising, I think you should start building your portfolio. And there is no greater portfolio than your Instagram page. No greater portfolio.
Well, Vasuri, the entire advertising department, it's currently surging high. It's spreading its wings. It's just flying high. So, how would you say how different it is in India when it is compared to the international borders? How different it is, or how similar it is, per se?
I think we have a long way to go. The advertising industry of India has a very long way to go as compared to what people are doing outside. The
Right.
kind of stuff that people are creating in countries like Israel and Iran and Thailand, for that matter, is crazy. It is so deeply rooted into a human insight, and at the same time, it is so creative. मतलब हम तो वहाँ अभी उसका we haven't even touched like 10% of the kind of content that these people create. But at the same time, it's like how Bollywood is experiencing a change. Ayushmann Khurrana के आने के बाद,
Huh.
I love Bollywood. Um, और जब से आयुष्मान खुराना आया, even though a lot of people say that he does the same kind of middle class stories, but at the same time he has done a change to how we look at cinema and what kind of films become blockbusters.
Totally,
So
totally.
in the same way, I think advertising in India is also waiting for its Ayushman Khurrana, for somebody who changes how we perceive it and how, because in countries like Thailand and Spain and I don't know, Australia for that matter, they're always driven by what you're doing. And as I said, it's not about the ad, it's always about the act. And for India, I think we have a very long way to go for that.
Like I said, Basuri, you have an experience, a background in copywriting, and you have worked in the past in this department. You have been working in this department. So, how different it is, or what exactly is copywriting when it comes to advertisements?
Okay, yes, that is, I think, a very important question that I wish somebody had cleared for me when I was in your place. You know, um, and I'm saying this for copywriters and designers both. The new wave of advertising has completely dismissed these two terms. There is nothing called a copywriter anymore, or an art director anymore, or a graphic designer for that matter anymore. There's only an ideator.
Okay.
So whether you excel at writing or whether you excel at art direction, it does not matter, because at the end, even if you don't excel at both of these skills, the one thing that matter will is your idea and your ability to understand humans.
Totally.
And the great part is that when you're in advertising agency, you do not have to excel at writing or designing. You could be a client servicing person, you could be a strategist, you could be anybody to just have an idea. You just have to understand what that brand is will be doing for somebody.
Totally. So does it mean that advertisement today is more about people who think rather than people who like write or design? It has just shifted to thinkers.
Yes, it's always been about thinkers, but अब देखो क्या हो गया है. So of course you have to have an idea, but at the same time you also need somebody to execute it for you. So I mean, you know what the idea is, but how do you bring it to life is the job of course, an art director and a copywriter. It's like hardware and software. One cannot work without the other. But idea is very important. Yeah.
What are obstacles? What are hindrances that might come? Like, what could possibly go wrong in this department?
Everything that you could think of can go wrong. Oh god, that sounds so similar to Murphy's Law, but like everything that you can think of can go wrong. So I've gotten so many ideas rejected. I have cried my eyes out. I, there's a shadow under my eyes क्योंकि मैं सोती नहीं हूँ. But at the end of the day, despite of all these hurdles, you'll be exhausted on days. You'll have your idea rejected, which you worked on for like months. But at the end of the day, it will all be worth it. But one other thing that I have to definitely add to it,
Sure.
When you're starting out, you will always wonder, how do I start out into advertising?
Totally. Yeah.
The first thing is definitely have a portfolio, have a great aesthetic, rich Instagram page. Of course, keep your private life out of it. Have an Instagram page just for your work. It does not matter how you start, because now when I look back at the blogs that I used to write when I was in MSc BBA, I want to puke. It was so cringe. But अगर मैंने वो कभी नहीं लिखा होता तो मैं अभी जो लिख रही हूँ मैं वो भी नहीं लिख रही होती. I mean, if I hadn't started writing out the blog, I would never be writing for brands right now. So please start out in some way or the other.
Well, this is really helpful because like even if I'm beginning from today, or even like I'm aspiring to be a part of this, the Mica League and then the advertising career, everything, it really just confuses me. Like, where is the beginning? How do I start? The things, it's stressful. It gets stressful at times because we are then like, अच्छा ठीक छोड़ दो. It's something that I don't think I could even make a career out of it, or maybe it's not for me and I need to quit. But thank you so much for bringing in it. It's really helpful. Like Bansuri, it has often been said that every career has a path. Like if we take medical or medicinal department, it's like people complete the 12th in science, biology, and then go for NEET, and then go MBBS or whatever they want to pursue. Similarly, for engineering, they complete 12th in maths and then go for JE, advanced, and then an engineering 4-year course. But when it comes to advertising, it's very open and it's very acceptable to anyone and everyone who comes from varied and diverse fields. So what do you say? Like, is there still a strategic path that we could follow in advertising? Is it preferred, or like anyone could enter into it?
Noshpa, there's no formula. There's absolutely no formula, no strategic path to getting into advertising. In fact, in all the agencies that I worked in,
Yeah.
A lot of my creative directors, and you'll be surprised, were engineers. Really, there's no strategic path. You just have to have an idea, the creative inclination to get into advertising. However, a degree always helps. A portfolio always helps. Having an experience always helps. Start out. So number one step is have a portfolio. Number two step is start getting an experience. And number three step is get a qualification. So yeah, I think these are three steps that you should definitely keep in mind, while at the same time making sure that you really want to do this and you really want to tell stories.
Totally. Bansuri, like advertisement as a department, is still seen as an expense for most of the business enterprises, right? So whenever a situation demands for them to cut off the expenses, advertising is one of the first thing they try to curb down and they try to cut down. like keeping in view the current situation that's following, like this entire pandemic view, people are getting layoffs, people are losing the jobs, people, the salaries are being reduced, are being cut, are being on hold and pause. So the things are getting worsening for the people who are in this creative scope, especially advertising if we call about. So what do you think, like how the situation is going to change post pandemic and at the moment as well?
Um, I don't know if you guys want to keep this or not, but I and everybody, most people that I know, have had no salary cuts even during the pandemic, which in the advertising industry, which says a lot because which means that people still believe in the power of advertising. And तुम कुछ भी कर लो, anything, you a brand will need advertising. Yes, I agree. I'm not saying it hasn't affected advertising industry at all. It definitely has. Um, but at the same time, brands also realize कि यार अगर अभी advertising नहीं की तो हम तो और नीचे कुएं में गिरते ही जाएंगे. और especially when it comes to digital advertising, I think there's no stopping from here.
Totally. Well, I'm really sure that you have worked on numerous campaigns and very interesting projects. Is there a one that you would like to share with us, and how the process went on and how it came out as a result? Any of your campaign or a poster or any design that you worked at?
So I think I will talk about two. One is a campaign. The other is a brand that I want to talk about. I will start with the brand. So when I got into Glitch, um, before I gave my interview and everything, my boss asked me, who's a great person by the way, um, she asked me कि बांसुरी तुम्हारी interests क्या हैं? And मैंने बोला Husaina, that's her name. Husaina, I love Bollywood. I मुझे बॉलीवुड बहुत पसंद है. मतलब if there's anything to do with films, I will be more than happy to do it. So she said, "You come to the right place," and she gave me a copy test. Let's also talk about the creative agencies में interviews कैसे होते हैं. We'll take it up next.
Sure, sure, sure.
So she said, "You've come to the right place," and when I got in, she told me, "Okay, the brand that you'll be working for is Book My Show." Book My Show is a brand that at that point of time was trying to shift from just being about movies to being about experiences. कि उनको सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं जाने जाना है कि वो that we can book tickets on it. They also wanted to be known for कि you can check out a comedy scene here, or you can check out events here, you can check out adventure sports here. And they were trying to make that paradigm shift. And that is when I had entered the brand. It was a great challenge. And now I have to talk about experiences, but because उसके already जितने audience थे वो सब movies की तरफ inclined थे. So I had to make sure that I find a sweet spot. And of course, it wasn't just me, it was the whole team. And so we started talking about experiences through movies. And I also realized that however small or however cringe or however down market people think meme marketing is, it's not.
It's not. Totally.
People love it. वो बहुत big fan.
Exactly.
So,
Anything that sells, it works. It's good.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there was this one experience that I really loved. One campaign which never came out, but is very close to my heart, was the campaign that I made as a student in MICA CCC. So in MICA CCC, we have a final jury where we have to make a 360 campaign, which involves posters, social media, film, outdoor advertising, brochure, everything that you can think of in advertising. Yeah. And you have to pick a brand of your choice. मुझे पता था कि मुझे आगे जाके कभी भी मैं शायद ही अपने पसंद की brand pick कर पाऊँ. So, and I knew I wanted to do something which was close to my heart. So I picked उत्तर प्रदेश tourism. उस time पे कुंभ होने वाला था. And so Kumbh was my talking point, but the film that I made was on Banaras, about how Uttar Pradesh tourism could talk about Banaras. And initially, I wanted to take up stock footage, but then one day I thought, no, I can't do this. I have to make, I mean, I have to do full justice to it. So I picked up my bags. In a couple of days, I was in Banaras. I had never shot anything before in my life. Never. मैंने वो पूरी फिल्म अपने फोन पे शूट की. I will not take the brand name of that phone because it's Chinese and I don't use it anymore. To highlight that, I shot the whole film on my phone. It was the most enriching experience that I've ever had because I was creating a campaign. I was living the campaign. And the best part was कि जो मैं उनको बोलना चाह रही थी through the campaign, वो मैंने experience किया. I wanted to say that, when you go to Uttar Pradesh, it transforms you. Of course, मैंने इतनी cliche language में नहीं बोला वो, but that trip to Banaras and making that whole campaign changed who I am as a person, and it's still in me. And even when I talk about it right now, it gives me goosebumps. And I named that film Bansuri Ka Banaras.
That's, it just gets me into the feels right now. I'm like, मुझे भी बैठ पे करना है, I want to head somewhere right now. I want to make something of my own right now. This entire experience while you were, narrating and telling all the little pieces, the tits and bits of it, it really connects and it feels great. Before we wrap up this video, one final question. What are the final words, like the final thing that you would like to say to all the people who are watching this video, the students of MSU BPSA and anyone who just want to get into this field of advertising?
So this is a message to all the Sankalp teams and to the team who began Sankalp, who thought, and to that person who thought that, MSU BBA should have a magazine of its own. Thank you so much. If it hadn't been for that magazine, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have come out of my cocoon. I wouldn't have been talking. I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for Sankalp. If you are a student right now, please, please, please take part in any and every activity that there is. It will only and only enrich you. It will only add to your portfolio. अगर मैंने संकल्प में नहीं लिखा होता तो मुझे मेरा फर्स्ट जॉब नहीं मिलता. मुझे मेरा फर्स्ट जॉब नहीं मिलता तो मैं मायका नहीं जाती तो मैं अभी यहाँ नहीं होती. So thank you to the person who started Sankalp. Advertising is great. It's crazy. You will have a lot of all-nighters. You will cry a lot. You will laugh a lot. You will win a lot. You will lose a lot. But one thing is for sure, if you really want to do this, you will have the time of your life. It's a dream. And if you're living this dream, there's nothing like it. Yeah.
Totally. It has been a great, insightful conversation with you, Bansuri. Thank you so much, Bansuri. It couldn't have got any better. The conversation that I had with you, every little details that you told about advertising, about things in general, about things in Bombay, about everything. It's really insightful, it's really helpful, and only thing that it's gonna push us to do is being curious. So thank you so much for being with us and for joining us on this episode of Vartalaap Season 1. To all the people who are watching this video, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, stay at your homes, stay safe, and let the curiosity burn.